Welcome back and thank you for staying with us on Daybreak. Let's start this segment by taking a look at the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Now, the major story here is talking about CBN to retire 1,000 offers 50 billion naira payoff. They are offering me 97 million naira for 4 years of service. This is what one of the writers are saying. 17 sacked directors yet to be replaced. This major story you find on page 4. Details of that, of course, you get on the Daily Trust newspaper. Below the major story there, we see a pictorial of the AMGA that happened, and even everything was finished. We had the closing ceremony happen yesterday, on Saturday rather, in the FCT, where Nigerian Army combat about 4x4 meter relay men during the just concluded 2024 Second African Military Games at the Moshood Abiola Stadium in Abuja at the weekend. A great initiative there. Below that, we see federal government begins malaria vaccination for children today. Minimum wage, states race to beat NLC deadline. Yet there's still that effect because the strike has started. Obasanjo to go on. I never knew you asked Abacha not to kill me. Interesting conversation. Then we saw these two people, appear, I think, in a Christmas festivity that happened in Plateau that was hosted by the governor there, Caleb Mutwang. So I'm sure there was a lot of conversation behind that. They said that we see experts differ on impact of Tinubu's tax reform on North. All right, still an ongoing also case on that. Below the headlines there, we see the Daily Trust wins Dame's Best Designed Newspaper Award. Great win for the Media Trust Group here. 2027 Atiku Obi's Parley in Yola reignites merger permutations. Now, these are some of the stories that you'd find on the Daily Trust newspaper. Quickly, let's take a look at The Guardian. Major stories on Labour begins nationwide strike, cites empty promises by governors. Atiku Zulum lead the northern opposition against tax bill ahead of NAS debate, talking about how it has passed the second reading. I never knew Gowon saved me from Abacha, Obasanjo says. 2027 splinter APC group moves to register with INEC. Also, The Guardian shines at the Dame 2024 wins highest in individual categories. Government mum as poly lecturers begin strike today. Judiciary grafts abuse of power, diminish public confidence, the AGF says. Besides there, we have a pictorial of a lot of agreements and businesses happening. We see President Tinubu and the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, making some agreements. Hopefully, it would benefit the country. Below the pictorials, where we also see Dangote there, and that's the executive director of the Dangote Group, also building up investment on factories and all of that. So this is great for the country. Below that, we see name contractors that disappeared with MDAs, about 167 billion naira. Sarab tells Tinubu. Interesting one that. Groups demand regionalism, parliamentary system, new name for Nigeria. Okay, another interesting situation there. All right, these are what you find on the Guardian newspaper. Now, quickly, let's dive into this. We have our reviewer here, Dr. Theophilus Abba, the program director of Daily Trust Foundation, joining us to dissect the front pages. Good morning, doctor.
Good morning. Thank you for
always a pleasure having you. All right, doctor, let's talk about what's happening in the CBN. This is not the first time that we've heard CBN retire people. There was a period where they were saying there was mass recruitment in CBN that people are not even working. People don't even have a desk to work, and payments are being made, salaries and all of that. And then now they are removing about 1,000 people, offering 50 billion naira. What is your take on this?
Well, I think since the beginning of this administration, there has been a deliberate attempt perhaps to reposition the CBN. We know, at a point, some persons were moved from Abuja to Lagos, and the idea was that, look, these guys didn't have even desks, but there was this recruitment that brought in just people from different powerful Nigerians, into the CBN. I remember there was a time my wife was in the hospital and she overheard some woman, discussing. The one was talking to her daughter, "Where do you want to work? Is it NNPC you want or the CBN?" And the woman said, "I think NNPC is better than CBN." And I said, "Okay, your daddy will fix it. We're going to get you an appointment letter."
Interesting. Nepotism at the highest rank.
And it was shocking. Well, so people could get jobs so easily. Why? I said, well, I don't know. We were just being given employment. And we heard at the point some persons who get applications or CVs in Ghana must go and, ask the HR, give people jobs. So all sorts of things happened there at the CBN, and perhaps this is a way of weeding out those who are, not necessarily those who are not needed at the CBN. But from what I'm seeing, it's like they're asking them to retire, maybe take early retirement, and then they get paid off. So if you have 4 more years to retire, maybe you have spent maybe 20-something years at the CBN, you have 4 more years, and then they need younger people at the CBN. You say, okay, if you have 4 more years, you can go. We'll pay you your salaries for maybe 4 years.
But is that legal? Should that be allowed to continue?
Well, I think, I don't know whether it is, I think it's voluntary. Some persons have to, it's like a carrot. If you agree, you take it.
You'll be given offer.
So I think they said they are offering me 97 million for 4 years service, which means that look, you are not going to work for 4 years, but then we're going to give you like something million, which is to me a lot of money. So I think maybe they're trying to reposition the CBN, but my own worry is that you try to do this, and then when you leave there as CBN governor, you still have some things that those who take over from you complain about.
Yeah.
So we need sincere, kind of leadership in the various MDAs. Those who do things from a kind of dispassionate position, who do things in the interest of the country. Now, if you ask 1,000 persons to go, and tomorrow we hear that you brought in 2,000.
That is that fear. What is the need? What was the need of that?
That's my major concern.
Because that 50 million billion dollars is a lot of money. Now, I'm moving on, still holding people accountable, talking about the tax reform. This is something that has been echoed. We've seen drama almost ensued in the National Assembly. So reps have suspended the debate indefinitely as northern governors mount pressure. That from the north, we've seen resistance saying we don't want this bill to be passed. What is your take on this, and why do you think the northern governors, and even legislators are pushing for, against this bill?
Well, when you have a bill like this, which is really controversial, I use the word controversial now because, you have people commenting from different angles, and they are not ignorant people. It's not like it's some area boys who are shouting, these people are important Nigerians. These people are people who have responsibilities, people who know implications. So one of the things that you do, as somebody who is intelligent, is to look at the implications of whatever you are doing. You see, I know some members of the National Assembly, maybe because they belong to the ruling party, they may actually want to do what the president wants. We have seen that happen over the years, where things are not even debated. It's even good that this is being debated. That people can comment on it. But then I know that the president and the group that drafted this bill, they need to go back to the drawing board, because if a governor would tell you that, look, if this bill passes through and is signed into law, I won't be able to pay salaries. It's good to listen to him. Why can't you pay salaries? What are the issues? And then are there amendments that could be made to the law? I know that there should be public hearing, and when there's public hearing, everybody, all stakeholders will come and make their comments, and it's based on whatever, and you based on what Nigerians have contributed, their own opinions, their own viewpoints, that will determine the fate of the bill. So I'm thinking that the federal government, the National Assembly, should listen, because I think the FRS official boss was saying that look, it's not a new tax law that we need. We actually need to rein in people into the tax bracket. You know, there are a lot of people who are not paying tax in this country. Many of them very, very rich, and there are taxes that maybe have not been fully captured. You know, and so if you do all these things, maybe there will be more money instead of bringing discriminatory tax practices.
No, not
because what we're
others.
talking about here is the discrimination. That okay. If there is VAT, and VAT is substantial. If there is VAT, okay, particular part of the country will get more, particular state will get more, others will not get enough. You know, and the philosophy that that Nigeria has run with over the years is that you put everything in the basket and share. You know, by the time you start discriminating, oh, this part did not come, that part did not contribute, it will be an issue. You know, for instance, when you had the 13% derivation, you know. It was to ensure that the Niger Delta, where this oil is produced, is given a substantial sum, especially for development. While the Niger Delta, they are not just another. But sincerely, if you go to the Niger Delta, you still discover that there are issues. You know, many of those states still have many they still lack development. You know, and so it's not the quantity of money that you give to a particular part of the country that will determine their development. It's actually the quality of people who are providing leadership. You know, there are African countries that don't earn as much as some states in Nigeria, but then there are developments.
Talking about earning now, let's deviate to the NLC strike that starts, from yesterday, but officially today. What is your take on the NLC pushing back on, the governors at a time where this bill of the tax reform is also being negotiated?
Well, I think if the governors don't want to pay the minimum wage, then they are unfair to Nigerians. Because the issue at stake is actually the minimum wage, creation of the minimum. That's 70,000, 75,000 minimum wage, and the governors are resisting. Now, as a matter of fact, the value of this 75,000 is not up to the value of 30,000 in 2022. If you look at the devaluation of the currency, and most state governors are receiving 2 or 3 times, what they were receiving previously. So if you now look at, okay, let's pay this salary based on what we receive, not even the value, because if labor insists on, okay, if you have devalued the naira, then give us, a salary that is equivalent to the new value. Of course, it will be catastrophic. Now, I am thinking that the least that a governor should do is to demonstrate sympathy. Let me use the word sympathy. Because if you have 70,000 naira, or if you unfortunately drive a car in Nigeria today, and you earn 70,000, 75,000, and you are fortunate to be driving the car, of course you have to park the car. Because if you buy 10,000 naira fuel, how many kilometers will it take you? So I think the governors should realize that the people, the civil servants that they are working with are suffering. And the least they can do is to pay them this minimum wage, especially because they have this money. Now, apart from what they receive from Abuja, they have internally generated revenues. And like I said on this program, research has shown that this money is diverted, and not diverted by those on the street, by those in government. They divert this internally generated revenue. And so the thing is that you should pay the workers their salary. Of
course.
Because you get much more. You get much more. Look at, even at local government level, they are trying to arm twist them. You don't want to pay workers, you are not executing projects, you are not doing, what are you doing as governor? You just sit on huge sums of money, you and your family will, help yourselves with them.
It really breaks our hearts, on what the governors are doing, and hence the reason why we would keep, discussing situations like this until the right is done to the people. But then let's move on from the sad situation to a celebratory of the Daily Trust wins of the Dame's Best Designed Newspaper Award. Now, front page is always amazing. I have to hold it like proudly just in case and see. What is your take on that? I mean, you're part of this, the Media Trust Group.
Well, I think it's deserved, winning the Best Designed Newspaper, of the year. is actually well deserved, and I think Dame, the board of Dame and the judges actually they made the right judgment. You know, because I think Daily Trust is one of the best designed newspapers in Nigeria today. You know, apart from the aesthetics, you know, if you see the creative use of infographics, you know, and visualization, you know, that Daily Trust does regularly, you know, it shows that there's a lot of thinking, deep thinking that goes into the newspaper. And if you look at the use of photograph, look at today's page, very clean picture,
Indeed.
spread across. It's not squeezed. You know, it's allowed to breathe, the way we say it in the newsroom. You know, it's allowed, even if you look at the headline, CBN to retire 1,000 offers 50 billion. The headline breathes. You understand? So there is no conjunction on the front page. And this is, I mean, this was done even, even before this award. So people have seen it over and over again. You can pick the Daily Trust and you feel relaxed. You don't need to wear eyeglasses to be able to read the story.
Indeed.
So I say congratulations to the editorial team, congratulations to Media Trust Group, you know, because it's something that they have worked at. You know, I'm not. They didn't do this because they wanted to win an award, but they did this in order to respond to the needs of the readers.
Indeed.
And I think some persons are watching. You know, some persons are watching.
Of course.
And I want to say, recently Daily Trust Foundation also won an award for capacity building of journalists. So
that is really good. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Daily Trust Foundation winning
at this point,
award.
I'll say congratulations to
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Well done. Well doing a great job. But then, yes, thank you so much, Dr. Theophilus Abba, for joining us. It's always a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Appreciate that. And yes, that was Dr. Theophilus Abba, the Program Director of Daily Trust Foundation. Hope you enjoyed our 2 hours of amazing information-packed show. Please do stick around. You know Trust TV always keep you up to speed. And Sports 360 Sports will be on the air, by 10 a.m. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Do have a lovely Monday.